Hey everybody, it is good morning, Comrade, for uh, the 29th of April 2021. We have our Thursday show. What is going on? We got Jeff and Robert rocking and rolling. What's going on, dude?
Nothing much, man. You doing okay? You sound kind of low energy there.
Oh, it's just been a long day, I had like a middle of the day nap. I've been like just sleepy, all that kind of stuff. Too many calls, too much work, all that kind of stuff.
That sounds awesome, dude. Good to nap in. I like that.
Yeah, always good to get a nap in. But yeah, man, what's going on with you?
Just living the Corona life. Still.
You got roller skates now, right?
I do. I'm trying to skate, and I'm trying to fight the feeling that I'm too old because my shins are in so much pain right now from attempting to skate. I can only do it like maybe 20 minutes, and I have to tear my skates off my feet because my shins are just ridiculously in pain. I finally got the right gear though. I didn't know anything about roller skating, so I got a pair. I was being like a big guy, like I'm the size 14, so the only skates I could find were 14, which are they were like roller derby speed boots, which are cool. Like I like them. That's kind of the style I like anyway. I don't like the big boots with the heel. But I didn't know anything about wheels, so I didn't know that these things have what's called a 92A on them, and that's just like that's how hard they are. Like on a hardness scale, like the 100 is the hardest wheel you can get. So a 92 is pretty high up there, and that's for indoor only. So I was trying to take indoor wheels outdoor, and the wheels have no give because they're supposed to be fast and slippy for like super smooth surfaces.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a jackhammer just going through your legs. So I finally got
the right wheel.
Oh God. I finally got a pair of wheels, the big gummy, like soft wheels, and they feel so much better. But my shins are just like killing me. And I'm on
shin splints or like
I definitely have shin splints for sure.
Oh no.
Yeah, everybody says that's normal. They're like, oh, that's normal. That's normal. I
just get worried when you do things to try and figure out whether or not you're too old to do it anymore.
Right.
Because if the answer comes back that you are, then it backfired, right?
I mean, not really. What I'm trying, it's like with the legs in general, like with my legs, I'm like, oh man, my legs are so tired and sore, but I've got to keep at it, or they're just building muscle that like didn't get worked before. So I just got to keep on it a little bit every day. Like I halfway just want to like wear them to the office and just like have them, because like to break them in, that's what people say to do. But man, I can't be doing that. What if I got to go somewhere real quick and I'm just like skating through the office? That'd be stupid.
Well, I ran track, and like I had shin splints then because I ran long distances, and that ain't no joke. Those hurt, and you can't do nothing about it.
Nope. You just gotta get them stronger. I guess that's all you can really do. What else is going on? It's a good value. We are not getting a kickback from Warner Media, but I wish we were. I got the HBO Max membership subscription, whatever.
You watch Mortal Kombat?
I did. I watched Mortal Kombat.
I haven't watched it yet.
You're not that. Put it this way, you're not missing anything.
I'm not expecting a good movie. I'm expecting
good. Your expectations will be met then. It's fine to watch at home. If you went to the theater, I'd be kind of mad because I'd be like, oh, this is not worth it. If you could combine I don't know how to feel about it because this was like a hard R movie. So it's like, oh shit, he's doing the fatality. He's doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to like when we were kids and we saw the original Mortal Kombat movie. I feel like the original Mortal Kombat movie had more heart. And
the original movie was a movie. Like it actually had to be a movie.
It actually had people like
that period, writing. Like the Street Fighter movie. That ain't no movie. They're just getting a bunch of characters and parading them across the street.
Nah, that shit was dope because it had Raul Julia and he took that shit.
Raul Julia is like the one. It was not a movie, but it had a great actor in it.
You know the story of that too, because that was like his last movie before he died, and he was like, his agent gave him that script, and he was like, "Fuck you." He was like, "What is this?" He's like, "I'm Raul Julia. I'm a real actor. I don't do bullshit with Jean-Claude Van Damme." His kids just bullied him into doing that movie because they were like, "Dad, please, 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 please." So he did that movie like only for his kid.
That's awesome.
His kids, but no, he's got that line, like it's the most like actory line of all actory lines. It's something like when he's Bison, he's gonna do like a Psycho Crusher, and he just yells at Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's like, "When Satan came down from the sky like lightning." Some shit. It's like this guy is fucking awesome, dude.
The one guy that can deliver that line, and it's the whole reason he was in the movie anyway.
So awesome.
Like
they need to bring that back into like the new games. That's the thing. See,
did make a Street Fighter the movie the game, but like
yeah, that's garbage. What I mean by that is like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I actually want to start playing Mortal Kombat again. Because I actually did play it for a while and I got pretty good for a casual. Like, Scorpion's my guy, like whatever. But the thing, I like as many thousands of hours I've poured into Street Fighter, and I'm very proficient in Street Fighter 5. I like the Mortal Kombat game better because it takes like its whole lore and it takes like the whole medium of the game. I'm probably saying that wrong. It takes like all the media that's gone before, and it's just like it plays off of that, this like rich history of like trash and good and bad, like comic books and cartoons and movies, to where like Street Fighter plays everything so deadly serious to where it's not fun. Like Mortal Kombat's so much fun to play. I don't know if you noticed, if you're not like a super nerd, like one of the cool things they did, they always have guest characters, right? So they have, in this one, there's Rambo, and he's awesome. The Terminator's okay. Spawn is great because he's voiced by Keith David, like from the HBO Spawn cartoon. And then they had, did I say RoboCop already?
Yeah, I don't know if you said RoboCop. You said
RoboCop, Rambo. I feel like I'm missing another like
RoboCop,
huge.
Okay, I was like whatever on a lot of these things, but then yeah, you can have like a Terminator versus RoboCop.
Oh, it's so dope, dude! And the way they've written so the characters interact with each other, it's so dope. And they'll say, they have like stuff from their movies and whatnot, and it's so awesome the way that they put these little interactions with the characters. But the coolest thing they did was they got Shang Tsung's back in this one, and then they did alternates for costumes and also voice line actors, and added new acting for Johnny Cage, Sonya. They didn't get Raiden because Raiden's Christopher Lambert, but they had all the movie actors do like new voice lines for the characters.
That's wild.
Oh,
it's so just so weird. Like, again, like I never really played games like after the first like 3 or 4 or whatever, and they stopped doing the like motion capture animations, right, and they started putting like fully like animated stuff. I was like, I don't know, this isn't for me anymore.
Well, you didn't miss anything because Mortal Kombat didn't start getting decent until Mortal Kombat. They rebooted the whole series. Mm-hmm. So it's just called Mortal Kombat. It's the newest one. It's maybe like 5 or 6 years old. And then they did Mortal Kombat XL, and now it's Mortal Kombat 11. But you didn't miss anything besides those 3. Like, I would definitely pick them up on a sale if you can get them. I don't know why. It's weird that Mortal Kombat 11 is not on sale with the movie out or whatever. But it's like the movies. So, I mean, the games are so good because they just like, it's like constantly like winking and nodding to like, hey, we know you like this, and hey, we know it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we know it's stupid. My favorite thing is even Aaron. I was like, Aaron, you have to see this, and she's like, I don't want to see a dumb video game thing. And I was like, you'll like it. So they have the new characters in the game. They have newish because she was in the last game too. But so like Jax has a daughter, and then also Sonya and Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage have a daughter. And it's Cassie Cage. She is a combination of the two, like the way she's written.
She
So
just punching in that.
so she's like, I'm badass special forces like army lady. Plus, I'm like super cocky. Like in between rounds, she's like texting with one hand on her phone.
Oh yeah,
and she has a fatality that's so. She has a fatality where she like whips out a tonfa and just hits you in the jaw. So it just completely severs your jaw clean off. And then she gets behind you and takes a selfie with your like your dead jaw, your broken jaw. It's and Aaron was like, "That's pretty cool." She goes, "Yeah, I like that." I was like, "Yeah, this is so amazing." So big up to NetherRealm Studios. Big up to the best Mortal Kombat player of all time, Black trans nerd hero, Sonic Fox.
Okay.
Love that guy. Have you ever seen him?
No, I don't know who that is.
So he's a guy. He's obviously on the spectrum, and I don't mean that as like I don't mean that as a pejorative. But he's like obviously on the spectrum, and I think this. I think that this is like a segue here. I think autism. This is not a professional. Obviously, I know nothing about nothing. I can barely tie my shoes, but I think that autistic people, like when you say somebody's on the spectrum, I think they're just like the next step in human evolution. I think that like it works kind of like the X-Men. Like sometimes you get a Wolverine and sometimes you get a Squirrel Girl. Like it's just the way it plays out. But the guy's mind, the way he just like he locks onto fighting games and the way he can just like true combo you one touch. Like if there's a one touch combo in any fighting game, he's gonna find it and just like break the game wide open. But he's like the best Street Fighter player. I mean, the best Mortal Kombat player of all time for sure. Any of those NetherRealm games, the DC Universe games. But yeah, here's what he's going for. Right? Yeah, it's made by NetherRealm. It's the same devs. But here's his deal. Here's what he has going for him. He's black. He's on the spectrum, and he's queer, and he's also a furry. Oh, so cool. Sonic Fox is like a literal, like it's like a literal thing, like because he wears he wears his fursuit to the tournament, and then he has like he has this whole persona, and then when he like is playing, he wears like a modified like kind of a knit cap with his like fox ears on it.
He keeps his branding tight.
Absolutely.
He knows what he's doing.
It was so sick. He was at some. We'll have to like post it on our. We have to post it on the website or something. Or on Twitter. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter.
Yeah, put it on Twitter.
He was at some fighting game tournament and whatnot. He was so they announce everybody and they bring them out and they have they're like, oh, Joe Schmo's from Canada and Joe Schmo's from and Jane Doe's from Singapore. And so they'll have their picture looking all tough and a flag behind them of their country. For he chose just to have like his fursona. And behind him for country is just a trans flag. It was so dope. I was like, this kid is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm up to right now. Playing, still crushing you at Magic. Skating and getting back into Mortal Kombat because it's just fun. It's just fun. Tell your brother he needs to start playing Elite Dangerous again. Because the new whatchamacallit's coming out, the new DLC where you can actually get out of your spaceship and walk around. Okay. Odyssey. He needs to get on that.
Cool. Yeah, I can let him know. Right. He doesn't. Well, never mind. I don't want to call him out here. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Rudy Giuliani has gotten his home essentially just like investigated, raided. What would you call it?
I mean, he got a warrant served against him. From what I can understand is that the warrant is for working for a foreign agent. I'm probably butchering this. I'm probably getting it all wrong. No,
Russiagate finally coming through.
Well, yeah, it did. I mean, Russiagate was always a thing. Like, it's just not. I mean, it wasn't gonna like Donald Trump was never going to be escorted away in handcuffs, but like, yeah, Russian interference was a thing for absolute sure. But no, so apparently he was involved. At least the warrant saying that he was involved in trying to get I want to say Ukraine to run some kind of phony investigation against the Bidens.
Burmese,
yeah,
what a wonderful company.
Run some kind of phony investigation against the Bidens in return, like a quid pro quo for whatever. I know we're not a news show, so I don't have it like notes in front of me.
Overturn the election. It appears a federal investigation of Rudy Giuliani remains active.
I was going to say, I think we have real media playing right now.
Pursuing Giuliani's electronic communications as part of an investigation into his business dealings in Ukraine. It's unclear what prosecutors in the Southern District of New York hope to find in the correspondence. Giuliani has been under federal investigation since last year, when his former associates were arrested trying to leave the country. In the meantime, Giuliani now distancing himself from Sidney Powell, a lawyer pushing some of the most extreme election conspiracies.
Damn, Sidney Powell's too toxic for this dude.
Well, you know, Trump's going to be like, new phone, who this? Like, what's a Giuliani? You know, that's what he's
last month.
President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America.
Sources say Powell has been at the White House twice in the last 2 days, urging the president to make her a special counsel to investigate the election, a move even Giuliani opposes.
Let me say definitively, Sidney Powell is not part of our legal team. She hasn't been for 5 weeks. She is not a special counsel.
That was the new phone who this
She does not speak for the president, nor the
So it's about it's carried as part of an ongoing investigation by prosecutors in the Southern District of New York over Giuliani's work on matters related to Ukraine and his business dealings with 2 indicted Soviet-born associates, and it marks a significant step forward in the investigation targeting the personal attorney of the former President Donald Trump. So yeah, that's where we're at. He's getting his house investigated and raided by FBI.
Let me ask you this, because honestly, as far as like a joke goes, like as far as like for comedic value, I that's kind of where I stop with this. Like, I want the FBI to go after these guys because they're scumbags and whatnot. But to be honest, like, it's not going to change anybody's material living conditions.
No, food on nobody's plate.
But here's the thing. I wonder, it's kind of unusual for the FBI to go after like a president's cronies, who's out of office, that could, turn up evidence of wrongdoing against him and then against that president. And then I also noticed that the FBI is now getting into the cop execution in North Carolina. So I'm like, I wonder, I know this is very generous, but it's like the Biden administration just judicially anyway, just like trying to clean house.
I have no idea. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more.
I'd like to dream. I'd like to quote my boy Starvos from Cumtown. I want to dream to imagine, but geez, I mean, I would hope it would just be a nice thing that we've never really seen in our lifetime. You know?
What, like a purge?
Yeah, what needs to happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess the problem that I have is that like I don't really trust who Joe Biden's going to purge because he's going to. I mean, I guess there's nobody good in government, so maybe that's the whole point. If like just cutting out some of the like absolute maniacs on the like fringe right wing and sort of like making them toxic. I don't know if it's going to work though. Like that kind of thing works, and I don't know if like Biden has the like guts or the political instincts for that anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a pessimist.
No, you're probably right. I'm just kind of dreaming. I'm dreaming right now. That's all.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I sort of see over there. I don't really know how to cover that other than that. Just to sort of like, hey, this is happening. Don't know how to do analysis on it. Just because it's like, I don't know. When it comes to like people like Giuliani, I'm just like, what the fuck ever. You know, he's a clown show. He's a joke, and like. I do get nervous when feds do shit like this, but like if they're going to do it anyway, and as long as they're doing it to fucking billionaires and like literal criminals, then fine.
See, I think that's a really good way to think about it. That you shouldn't, for sure, should not.
Not rooting for the feds here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you shouldn't be rooting for the feds, but I guess what I'm looking for is what I'm trying to say is that's like a liberal trap to where they're like, oh no, if they if the whatchamacallit, if the Republicans do something bad, then we shouldn't go after them because they'll just do the same thing to us. That's like such like a liberal trap. And I just hate when the left or the centrists like fall into that. And I think they should never do that. And because it just makes me so angry.
Yeah, and you also don't want to do like the libertarians thing where like they're like 1 second they're like oh, I'm against like any kind of cancel culture for free speech or whatever the hell, and then as soon as that like any protest happens anywhere near them, anywhere in their life, they're like, we need to round these people up and put them in a prison.
Right. It just feels like we've talked about this on the show, is that the right wing has no problem pushing those buttons. Mm-hmm. They will go after whoever they have to go after and then deal with the repercussions later, to where the centrist liberals will just never they're playing the game by like a different set of rules. Mm-hmm. than the right wing does, and they always lose because of it. They're playing with like these weird gentlemen's agreements. And
well, I mean, like with the like what kept happening, like Democrats like create their own roadblocks to then like stumble into and wreck into. Like the perfect example of that is the if you want to go back to a couple of months ago. And talk about the $15 minimum wage thing, and they were like, "Oh yeah, maybe we'll put it in the big spending bill, but maybe we won't. It depends on the parliamentarian." And they just kind of created this problem that's not even an official problem that they didn't even have to acknowledge, and just like made that the thing that stopped doing the thing. It stopped them from doing the thing. They just made up a fucking rule.
Yeah, like famous boxing trainer. I might have told this analogy, went over this analogy on the show. Famous boxing trainer Teddy Atlas said it best when he talks about, two guys train for a fight. One guy will start getting into like deep waters. He'll start getting into, the guys are fighting, the rounds will start going on. And then he says, sometimes fighters' minds will break, but not all the way. They're not defeated. What they'll do is they'll make little deals with themselves. And they'll go, well, if I don't hit this guy so hard, then he'll know what's up and not hit me so hard. But it's like, you have to remember that other guy has made no such deal with you.
Yeah.
And he's punching. He's coming for you.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that like, I don't know, to like talk about the politics thing, like every time, and it works because like on a certain other level, like Democrats have sort of always been like, oh, maybe we should get rid of the filibuster or whatever, so we can actually get like laws through or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And then like but if we did that, they say this to themselves, if we did that, then Republicans would have that same like ability if they ever win. And like it's always considered to be like a permanent, they never like expect themselves to like maintain popularity, because that's not how they operate. Exactly. Right? They don't operate in a way that's going to be popular, because keeping the status quo, keeping the sort of like neoliberal consensus in place means that people are going to be disappointed in you because you're going to be terrible, because your entire ideological framework and material framework is to suck. Right, that's your job in the government, and then just to go on, like the Republicans like already know that, and they already have like the first thing that they do is that they start to like saber rattle in the reverse way and say, are you serious? Do you want to give us free reign? Do you want to let us off the leash? And so like Democrats just always just turtle up and like cower, because fundamentally they're a capitalist party that is interested in maintaining the status quo, but like also they're just a bunch of wimps,
and that's the thing. You said it perfectly. I got invited to the Karen Carter Peterson, who was the woman who ran for state rep here in Louisiana. I got invited to her quote unquote victory/watch party.
Took the L.
So I went to that, and I was just like, I wanted to feel like bad for these people who invested so much time into this. And then on the other hand, I'm just like, I don't feel bad at all. I was like, because you know why? These are the same people who will tell me, Karen Carter Peterson, just to save time for the people who don't live in Louisiana, she's just like a centrist, middle of the road, Louisiana Democrat, which isn't the worst thing you can be, but it doesn't excite anybody. So it's like, she lost by, I think, double digits. And it's just like, I'm getting tired. If the Democratic Party as a whole were just like, look, triangulation is how we win. The third way is how we win. We've got to play to the middle. You're just a child. You're a petulant socialist child, and you don't know what you're talking about. Let us adults in the room win elections while you dream of a socialist utopia. But if that was the case, I'd be like, and they were winning elections, I'd be like, I guess you guys are right. Maybe I do need to reassess. But I get told all these things and chastised by these people just to watch their champions get mollywopped, get absolutely washed by double digits.
Right.
And I'm like, so what is the point of all this triangulation? And you're just gonna get stomped out anyway. It's because just what you said. They rather lose their way than win our way.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, what they don't want to do is upset the system that got them all the wealth and power that got them into the position that they made in that position. Huh?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly what the problem is, right? And yeah, I mean, that's sort of the I don't know. It's sort of the
it's the conundrum. It's the quicksand, that the political quicksand that I feel like I've been in my whole life, and why I don't have a home in the Democratic Party where
why would you want that?
Because I want the power. I want to be in my dreams, and I feel like in a lot of people's, we would get into positions of power within the party, and then we would turn the gears. And I don't know if that's, I look at the squad sitting on their hands on stuff, and I look at all our quote unquote progressive champions who are more than happy just to sit on their hands. And I'm just like, my theory, what I would hope I would want more than anything in life is to, if I won any office, state, local, or federal, and I ran the race I wanted to run, and within one term or whatever, I only had one term because I was too radical.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had one term, but I got something done. I'd rather do that than be a career politician just worried about my next election so I can stay in power. I just don't understand how these people, I do understand how they sleep at night. I do understand how they live, but it's just like, what? The voters should be better than this. We should be.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, the situation is what it is, and it only matters, I guess, insofar as you can do anything about it. And the sort of thing that I look at when it comes to people I don't know. I don't see in terms of the political system, I don't see an outside party coming in and beating the Democrats back and the way that things are. So there is a certain sense, at least, that the Democrats are the only game in town. And then the other thing sort of has to be, and this is the important part, there needs to be a labor movement that pushes these things. Because right now, the way that a lot of the labor movement operates is making deals with these folks. And so I guess there's sort of this middle ground, or this middle tier of leadership that sort of blocks the way for anything to actually happen because of the position that they hold, and they don't want that to be upset.
Absolutely.
Within labor and within the political system.
I feel like this is the big thing we talk about all the time. So it's to kind of change the subject, so we don't tread over the same ground all the time. This is where our conversation always goes to, because it's so frustrating. It is important to talk about, but it's just so frustrating. Let me ask you though. I was actually listening to the morning show at work, and I didn't catch the whole thing. You were talking about the mask mandate. What was the deal on that? Like, what was your take? Yeah, I know it got lifted. But what was your take there?
Basically, like, it's too soon, essentially. We're sort of making decisions, or, John Bell Edwards, not we. But, like, leaders, elected leaders are making decisions, again, in the interest of making things feel normal, right? Or in terms of like rolling things back to normal, quote unquote, which basically to them just means the way things were prior to the pandemic. And the important part of that is getting like the quote unquote economy back up and rolling. And again, I mean, like a quarter of the state or so, a quarter of the people in the state are vaccinated. Like, that's fine. Why are you going to like make a huge policy change when things are going good? And like erring towards caution is just like not really towards be considered. And then, and to be clear, like Louisiana compared to, Mississippi and Texas, our two next door neighbors, has been like fairly, good on this, relatively speaking, not necessarily in absolute terms, but like relative to other states in the area. And I'm not trying to like give John Bell Edwards like a whole ton of credit, if you know what I mean. Sure.
Well, this is where I feel like we can kind of have a gentleman's argument here, to where I'm not saying I have a lot of pushback, but I think it's for different reasons than most people. So I obviously don't agree with like right wing chuds. It's like it's taking my freedom away from wearing a mask. Right. My take is this. If you want me to wear a mask, to do like essential things, like go to the store, run errands, like do basic life, you want to wear a mask at work, like I completely get it. But if you're telling me that non-essential things, and I understand that this will never change because we're done with federal money. Federal money's not gonna do money to prop up. We're not going to do money to keep businesses afloat, or do checks, $2,000 a month checks to people like we should be doing at a minimum. But if you're telling me that it's safe enough to go to Disney, but I have to wear a mask there, and then if I'm going to eat my like Mickey pretzel, I can take the mask off, then it's safe to go there without a mask. But if you're telling me that but if you're telling me that it's not safe to be there without a mask, then just none of this shit should be open.
Oh yeah, that's
all be closed.
The other part of it.
It's such theater. Like, this is the part where the right wing has it right again, but for all the wrong reasons.
Well,
it's complete security theater.
Well, and my sort of like strongest take on all of this, to be like totally frank, I mean, like, in terms of how people operate, and by that I mean like how people like sort of see like things in the world. Essentially, like, there was a period of time where some people were like didn't have to go to work, or would have to work virtual. That would be like mostly like middle class type people, or I mean, a lot of people lost their jobs. But essentially every impulse. And a lot of people never stopped working, by the way. I don't want to like leave them out, to be clear. But like the impulse essentially is like, you need to get back working. It's like critical that you get back working. That's important. All this other stuff. And this gets to even beyond the mask thing. But like, you have to be working. You have to be working. You have to be working. And then, oh, by the way, the things that you can't do are the fun things, right? Absolutely. Things that make life worth living. So like when you get this message from, like Fauci or whatever, saying, oh yeah, don't go out for Christmas or, Thanksgiving or whatever, like, that's not gonna fly, mostly because like, wait, you telling me I can't go see my family, but I gotta go fucking bust my ass at work 8 hours a day, every single day? No, fuck you,
Mm-hmm.
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 And And
yeah, go ahead.
I think a lot of this is coming around. Like the primary issue is like in America, people never. I mean, again, handled it probably worse than anybody else, and definitely in terms of like comparable. Like, there's not really a comparable country to America in terms of like, you know, the amount of money that we have or the size. Like America's fairly unique. And like the governance structure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like if you look at the U.S. nationally, I mean, we had higher rates of infection, we had higher rates of death than many, many other places. And part of the reason is there was no like lockdown here, like in any real way. All that ended up happening was a mask mandate. And part of the reason for that was, hey, we're gonna try and keep things chugging along and give people as little as possible, because it puts into people's brains the very, very clear message that nothing stops this fucking machine from running.
No, and you heard that from our legislators, like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that, and it's just insane. No, we didn't have to do any of that. What we had to do, the thing is, it's a Band-Aid that we've just ripped off terribly slow. And then while we're ripping it off, we like poured rubbing alcohol on the newly like halfway healed wound.
Yeah, you're ripping it off with like spikes.
Right. Instead of just being like, you know, party's over in America for 3 months. Here's your checks. Go home. We'll see you. We'll see you when this is over. And we could have been back to the, you know, I've got cabin fever. I'm bored. I'm at work looking at, you know, where can I travel? Where can I go? I'm fully vaxxed. And it's just like, it's pathetic, because it just makes me so angry from a selfish point of view. I know people have died. I know people, you know, have suffered financially. They might, to quote Tiger King, I'll never financially recover from this. But I'm just like, in my own selfish way, I'm just like, y'all, we could have been done with this shit, but we wanted to fuck around. We had to have Applebee's open. It's like, no, it's not what it had to be. So now we're left with this because this is classic America, classic half measures, half step bullshit, to where we're too afraid to do what actually needs to be done. So we're going to do half like performance security theater measures. And you're going to tell me, well, I could go out and eat, but I have to wear a mask. But if I'm going to take a bite of my churro, then I can take the mask off and that's okay. But then I need to put it back. What the fuck? Just either it's good or it's bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's that simple.
Restaurants shouldn't be a thing right now. And like entertaining the idea that it should be a thing is like literally entertaining that idea that like we must have this like part of like normal consumer culture that was always been there, instead of like attempting to like get food to people. Like when you don't send a check to people, and I might be repeating myself, when you basically have the federal government in the United States say to the people like, oh yeah, oh, you need money? Okay, you need some money? Here's like a pittance. Here's like $1,200. Good luck with your landlord, you know. Oh, right. We'll push it back a little while. But here's, you know, another $600, and that's gonna last you like almost a year, right? Like the idea.
I feel like I'm being punished.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
The message is very, very clear that they're sending when they do that, and it's that like, you're on your own, motherfucker. You're on your own. Ain't nobody saving you. You better get back to work. Otherwise, you're gonna starve. Your ass is gonna starve. That's the message.
I just feel like I'm being punished. Somebody that's like tried to do the right thing, wore my mask, got vaxxed, got both vaccines, and you're telling me I can't go to Harry Potter Land, Universal, without my damn mask, it's because of assholes like Joe Rogan who don't know how vaccines work, telling people don't worry about getting vaccines. They don't understand how herd immunity works. And it's like, I have to pay for these assholes.
Let's talk about what Joe Rogan did. So what did Joe Rogan say on his show?
We said, oh, if you're young, don't worry about getting a vaccine. It's fine. My kids had COVID. They were fine. And you're just like, you obviously don't understand. You obviously do not understand how herd immunity works. You obviously do not understand how vaccines work. You don't understand, like, when polio was a thing, everybody had to get the polio vaccine. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter. Like, you have to get it because if somebody is breaking that link in the chain, and I commented today on the morning show, I go, man, if somebody could only explain to this guy why the UFC cage can't have links in the fence, I can't have holes in the fence, would be great. Why all the links have to be connected. Mm-hmm. They all have to, because if there's a break in the chain, then none of it works.
They all fall apart. You got a hole. Yeah. And then
it makes so angry, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about COVID stuff all day. I mean, there's also.
I'm done talking about extrajudicial. I mean, like police murder. Like, I'm kind of.
Done with that?
I'm not. I mean, America's not done with it. The world's not done with it. But I can't take anymore. Like, the police. Every day I read, there's some state trooper in Alabama that just got picked up for like sodomy and incest charges. It's outrageous. Our piece of shit sheriff. Our piece of shit sheriff tweeted out some bullshit about sheriff's deputies who had died, not from any kind of violence, but just from, like, people died type of shit. Right. And I was like, I'm very sad for their families. That was somebody's child that they're missing right now, somebody's mother, father. But this motherfucker had the audacity to tweet out, say their names. Say their names, you motherfucker. Like, you run a goddamn jail that's under the fucking consent decree because they treat people so bad in there. I know people who went to that jail and they had to physically fight deputies in receiving, like when you first get arrested, because they tried to take them to a cell without booking them. Literally trying to disappear people in New Orleans. And he's like, no, you're going to have to book me so people know where I'm at. So there's a record of me, because I know once I go back into this jail, I'm gone and without being booked. Man, fuck off, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Department. Fuck off all that shit. Fuck, abolish the police. But yeah, that was my police thing. God
damn. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, again, in light of, right now, friend of the show, Andrea is down in North Carolina. Literally, one of her neighbors was shot by police, and from what was released of the video, which was like a 20-second part of it, it literally looks like cops were like rolling up on this dude. Like, it was like 8 cops in like 5 cars and just blocking this dude in and just high power rifle assassinating them.
I mean, from what 20 seconds got released, the FBI is looking into it apparently.
And again, they have not released the full video, but yeah, shout outs to the folks on the ground in Elizabeth City for fighting against the police murder. I mean, there's zero question that this was a murder.
Yeah, Andrea is doing God's work.
Yeah, sure. She was on the show this past week to discuss it in the early days, but they've been going for about a week. And see no signs of stopping. Right now, the demand is to get the footage released. And as things have been coming out, it looks a lot worse every single time. So there's a reason the cops are covering this shit up.
And I listen to somebody like her, and I listen to Andrea, and she might be like, I'm one to talk, but she might be. You might think of her as bombastic. You might think of her as just very crazy, because she's like, get rid of all the police, we protect us, like, I hate the police, blah blah blah. But the thing is, it goes back to I'm not the only person who's ever said this, but it goes back to what's always been said of, you have to start there at, let's radically change the system, and then you might hit a middle ground. What you can't do is start negotiating with people who are murdering you, and then think that somehow
they're murdering, for sure.
Yeah, they're going to accept your proposals. You have to start with, You know, you have to start with no. We're tearing. We're burning it all down, either literally or figuratively. You have to start there first.
Yeah.
It reminds me when I was on a jury. It was just an insurance case, and the guy's like, "Well," and we're all in deliberation, and they're like, "Well, I think she should get this." The person who got injured from the insurance company. Well, what if we gave her half? And I'm like, well, here's where I'm at right now. She should get everything she asked for, plus the insurance company attorneys should turn out their pockets, and she should get that too. So that's where I'm starting from, and that's where you're going to have to back me down from.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up where like I formed kind of it was almost like a movie where enough jurors were like, yeah, let's start there. And she ended up getting like everything she asked for because people wouldn't back down.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there you go. All right, bro. Well, what else we got? We might be winding it down a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of ranted out. I mean, if you definitely have other things, I could stick around for a minute. But yeah, we are hitting close to that time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, we started late. You had a whole meeting with the quote unquote well, not quote unquote, but you were consorting with the enemy,
the enemy,
the Jefferson Parish Democratic Party.
Oh, not tonight. Tonight was DSA.
Oh, it was DSA. So you were doing the switch agent. Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight's DSA, and then what? Tomorrow is where you report on the minutes of the DSA meeting to the Jefferson Parish Democratic Party.
I mean, somebody got to snitch, right?
There you go, King Snitch.
Yeah, obviously parody. But anyway, you have been watching or listening to Good Morning Comrade. You can watch this show every Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturdays on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Good Morning Comrade. You can also check out our last show. We had a good interview with Ben Burgess. Conversation. He's the author of Canceling Comedians While the World Burns, a book that just it actually releases on Saturday as of recording. Definitely a really good book, worth picking up. And yeah, you can support our show by going to patreon.com/goodmorningcomrade. All right, Robert. Thanks for hopping on. We'll see you tomorrow.
Catch you later.
Bye, everybody.